Jonathan Gonzalez presenting Lieutenant Emil Weiss.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Gonzalez.
I'm Kevin Crompton.
Throughout this past semester, we have been conducting research on Lieutenant Emil Weiss of the Austro-Hungarian Fourth Army. Emil was a soldier as well as an illustrator for the Army's newspaper. His job was His job was to act as a reporter for the Army's newspaper as well as an illustrator and illustrate what he saw on the battlefield for the next day. Kevin and I spoke to Alex White, Master of Professional Studies and Chairman of Graphic Design at the University of Bridgeport, also Emil Weiss's grandson, about his grandfather's life growing up in Austria-Hungary, his time during the war, and how the war affected his life. In this video you are about to see, you will witness some of Emil's drawings, some of his illustrations, find out a little bit about his background, and see how the war affected him later on in life. And now here's our video presentation on Emil Weiss, World War I illustrator.
He was born in 1896. World War I was 1914 to 1917. So he started in the war at 18 years old. So his wonderful, wonderful drawings really started when he was the age of a college student with no training, all self-trained. Emil was in the Fourth Army and soon became a famous personality for his work in the Army newspaper. All of Austria knew his drawings, posters, and cards, and we were all very proud of him. One thing that my father has written is that my grandfather never thought of his work as being art. It was really a matter of reportage. You know, he was recording stuff. That's what he was doing. He didn't think he was good enough to make art, which is very funny. All right. Now, compare the styles. This one was done in 1917, and this is 1914. So what was he trying to achieve with this one? And it is signed with his name and in German or Czech, in the field, 1917. IF means in the field. So this one is this is for this personal consumption. This is him using himself because he likes to draw. And this is trying to achieve a particular thing for a greater purpose. But if you look at the caricatures of what he's drawing there and the life that he's bringing to them, it's not just a record. You know, this piece here is a record of what a gun looks like, and this is an interpretation of life, and a representation of life as he sees it. This is almost like a camera, it's so accurately done. You can almost rebuild that thing, that structure, from looking at the rendering, whereas this is an expression of life. And then we have this piece, which is another interpretation of, or impression of what was going on then. Look at how dark that is. How not fun it would have been to have been a soldier in World War I. He just couldn't help himself drawing, so I would say there were certainly thousands. How many were kept, how many survived World War I and then World War II and emigrating from Prague to London and London to New York? It's a miracle that we have any of them. So who knows what got lost? You know, things were not protected by photography, so we don't have a record of it. We only have what we have.
Emil Weiss drew every day. Alex White said for his father to be alive was to draw. It was just that simple. Here we have a 1918 postcard that Weiss illustrated. One thing that Weiss particularly loved about drawing was that he had freedom. No one could tell him what to or what not to draw. He could use a ballpoint pen later on in life and draw some truly amazing things using whatever tools he had at his disposal, even creating art on napkins. Weiss, he would later go on to become even more famous. Everyone knew of his work during World War I through the Fourth Army newspaper, as well as the postcards that you see here. But later on in life, he created the original movie poster for the 1948 British drama film, The Red Shoes, a very well-known film at the time. He would also go on to illustrate 40-plus children's books and be awarded a commemorative medal from the Austro-Hungarian government. Weiss was really ahead of his time. He was incorporating space into his work in ways that really had not been dealt with much yet. When we were talking with Alex White, he said that Germany was starting to use space and look at space in art, but he joked with us that his father was simply involved in that process by osmosis. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Unfortunately, Alex White couldn't be here with us tonight. He really wanted to, but thank you for our presentation.